All right, welcome to Google training we're going to do today on the basics of Google Classroom. And this is going to be very basic, how to create one, how to put documents in there, etc., how to get students to join. So first off, we got to get to the Google Classroom. Now, I go there a lot, so it's already on my recents. I also have it pinned up here. But the most natural way to get there is to go over to the Google waffle here, which has all your apps. Click it open and go to Classroom. When we get into Classroom, you can see that I have a number of classrooms already. And this is every section of my U.S. history that I teach. Now, there is a new feature that is kind of neat here that we didn't used to have. It used to be that if you put these classes and you accidentally did them out of order, you couldn't move them around. Now you can. You can take this and move it to the beginning or the end. So if you accidentally put one in the wrong order, you can fix that now. Anyway, let's talk about doing class. So if you're a teacher, you would need to create a class. It's pretty simple. You go up to this plus icon and you create a class. When your students get into the Google Classroom, they'll have something that looks similar to this, plus or minus classes, whatever they have. When you're first starting, it will be empty. But they will hit join a class. So for us right now, we're going to create a class and we're going to call it Tech Trainings. The section is 2017, I suppose. And we'll call it Technology Department Professional Development. See, so Google gave us that answer right there. So we create this classroom. It takes just a second, not very long. And we have the classroom started. And so now we are in here. Okay, there are a billion different things we can do. Now, since we named it Tech Trainings, it gave us a picture automatically of a piano. I don't know that that is necessarily what we want, but Google tries to select a theme for you right away. So, but you can select your own theme here. So you get in here and there's a gallery. And you can just flip through the gallery and find whatever it is that you want to create, maybe a technology class. I don't know, whatever. This looks good. It's pretty. So we select that class theme, and it changes. Now we have of the world. You can also upload a photo of your own if you have something that you find out in Google or Images or something like that. You can download it to your computer and then upload it right there, and it will fit it into your stream. This is the first page of the stream. And where all of your stuff will show up. Okay, now I'll go over a little more about this later in my own personal Google Classroom, which has more stuff in it. Students, when you go to the students section, this is where each one of your classes, you'll be able to see all of your students. You'll be able to invite guardians, their parents, to follow along in the Google Classroom. That does not put them in your classroom and they can't see anything else. It does email them on a weekly basis. This is something that will have to be turned on by your G Suite administrator because of privacy information and stuff like that. When you go to put your students in this classroom, there is a number of ways to do it. One way is to invite each student. If you go to invite students and you start typing in names, right? So these are students in my school, and it will, I can start inviting students into it. That is a slow way to go. The easiest way, in my opinion, is there's this class code right here, okay? And if you click on it and hit display, the class code will come up real big. This is what I do in my classes. The students come in, I've got this pulled up on the smartboard or wherever, and they go into theirs, join a class, and type this in, and then boom, they're into the classroom. And that's basically it for the student page that you can see right here. I'll look at it again later in an actual classroom. When you go to About, there's a number of things. This is where you can go to your Drive folder. Anything that you assign in here, especially things that you assign to each student, will show up in this Drive folder. You'll have a classroom calendar that the students can do, and then you can link your own Google Calendar in here as well, which I do in my class. Because then the calendar is here all the time and the students can see. I do all of my lesson planning in the Google Calendar so the students can see 3-4 weeks out what it is we're going to be doing. If you click in here, you can edit your description, where the class meets, if you're in a big school, and even if you move around classrooms, there are some teachers that move around in pods and things. You can put where your classroom is at. There's another neat thing down here, adding classroom materials. If we were going to add, let's say, a syllabus, we could go here and type in our syllabus, and then there's multiple ways to get it up there. Let's say it's sitting on the drive of my computer. You can select files from the computer and then upload it. You can also insert them using other ways, right? That was the add a file way. This is the Google Drive way, which a lot of stuff is in the Google Drive, and I've used a lot of things here recently. If we were to go into my drive and look up syllabus, oops, I bet we would find one in here somewhere, I believe. Here is my 8th grade syllabus.docx. We can add that right in there, and then it's in there all the time. And the students can find it and check it out. If we hit post, it will show up in the stream. Let's say we wanted to add a YouTube video. We don't know which one it is yet. Let's add a YouTube video about syllabus writing. At YouTube, find one. Here we go. We insert that video in there. Or if you have a video of your own, you can insert it right from the drive. Or if it's out in the internet somewhere, you can copy the link right in here. So when we hit post, it shows up right here and it stays here. These class materials will be there the whole time. So you don't even have to hand out a paper syllabus at the beginning of the year if you do not want to. And that is the basics of this page. It's just giving information about the class itself. So your students will be here, your stream will be here. Right now, we don't have any students in here, or have we assigned any work. When you go to assign work, this is where you do it, right on this little plus over here. Now, whether it's work or a class discussion or an announcement or anything like that, it all starts right here. So if we were to make an announcement, this will go out to everybody. And we write, welcome to the class, exclamation point. There's a button down here called topic. We don't have any topics in this class yet, so we'll create one. And this one is welcome. Now, this is a neat thing up here when you have students in, and it helps a lot with student differentiation because whether you have modified assignments or groups that you have that have different projects, you can pinpoint it either to all the students or specific students. And I'll show you that in my own Google Classroom. Actually, I'll show you that in my own Google Classroom right now. Go here. That's a different way to get to the Google Classroom. Right here, let's say I was doing this in my A1 class and I decided to, we'll show you how to create an assignment here. We go to create an assignment, and in my A1, I don't want to send it to everybody. I only want to send it to, I only want to send it to one, and I choose that student, and I'm only sending this to her now. So I name it, whatever it is, I name it. We just did one called Yellow Journalism. I could create a due date on it. It already knows that it is the 2nd right now, so whenever. So we want it to be due next Friday. We can put a time on there as well. If you just hit 3, enter, it'll make it for 3 p.m. If you need it to be in the AM, you have to physically change it over to AM. So far this year in my class, we have multiple topics: Civil War, how-to videos, mission statements, syllabus and curriculum map, the Age of Reform. This would go under the Age of Reform. Now, what this does, these different topics, is it will set up a topic screen right over here. So both you and students can click on whichever one it is, and it will only show things that are in that topic. Pretty handy, especially for students. Now, in this one, we want to assign yellow journalism. So I'll type in yellow journalism, I think rubric. And it's got all these ones because we just did this. We just did this one. There it is. There's mine. So that's my rubric that I have for them. Now, when you send this out, if you just want them to look at the rubric, students can view this file. I'm going to change this back to all students. Students can view this file is all they can do right now. Now, when I am doing something, I need to grade them in this rubric. So in order to use the rubric, you need to make a copy for each student. When you make a copy for each student, the students can, every single one will get one. Right? And I'll show you how that works in just one moment. But every single student gets a copy of the rubric. Now, that is very handy, especially when grading, because you can just click on each one. Whether you're doing a close read or whatever, it's just like going to the copy machine and making 150 different copies or however many you're making. You're literally handing an assignment to each and every one. You can also make it so the students can edit the file. If you want to do like a big group-based thing, everybody is in the same Google Doc or in the same whatever you're using. They can all do that together. Now, this is not, students can edit. This is not something you want to do with a rubric like this, because that is my original rubric. And if you go to students can edit, then they can change all of your stuff in here. That's not what you want for using rubrics and stuff. You want to make a copy for each student. Now, you need to make sure that you make a copy for each student when you are creating the assignment. If you don't, you cannot go back and change it to make a copy for each student. You would have to actually go back in and start a new assignment. So when we are going to assign, you'll see that it has saved it. We can do a number of things. First off, if I want every one of my classes to have the same assignment, I can go in here and click. This is going to go to my A1, my A2, my A3, my B1, my B2, and B3. It will go out to all of them. It'll be due next Friday at 3 p.m. And everybody will get it at the same time, instantly. And it's a Saturday right now. And if they were on top of it, they could sit in there. I mean, they would already have it at home. Obviously, there's a place for instructions right here. You can write whatever directions you need, which is nice because they're there all the time. Now, if I were to hit the assign button right now, they would get this immediately. Now, if I want, I can schedule this as well. Posts can only be scheduled for one class at a time, as it's reminding you right there. So if we take all of these off, that will be an option, and we could schedule it. It would go on here, and Monday at 8 a.m., this would just go. I wouldn't have to pay any attention to it at all. It would just show up in their streams. So when we do that, and what we do a lot of the time is I'll set up for the whole next week. I will save everything I'm going to do as a draft, and then I can schedule it as well. If I hit schedule, it does it on its own. If I save it as a draft, I'm going to have to go back through and hit the assign button. For now, if you just click out of it, it will save your posts. Imperialism, World Leader, Big Bully is one that I had saved. This is the one we just created right here. I'm actually going to delete that out of there and show you that class. Here's how it works with the Yellow Journalism rubric. They already did this, and I have returned it to them. If we click on here, it will show you. And there's grades sitting over here on the right, and this is what we have over here. Let's look at Mason Clark's. Here is his rubric that I can fill out, and when I get done with it, it just gets delivered right back to him. We also have, now that we're in here, you can see that I have invited other teachers into this class. This is an included class, so I have everybody who's involved in it, from our RTI teacher to the resource and an aide that we have in the class. You do that by coming here, right? Inside of here, those are the T's. You can invite other teachers from your school just by clicking on that link if you have other people that you want to include in this classroom. So that is the about, that is the students, that is the stream. In the stream, let's say we wanted to look at Civil War stuff, and the students can do this too. This will go back to everything that was in the Civil War. And like I said, this is an included class, so there's modified tests, and that only went out to the 6 that needed the modified test. Here's our compelling questions that we did, and these are in there for the entire year. Link to the Kahoot, Reconstruction quiz, Civil War task cards, and everything else. So that is a real basic, get you started version of the Google Classroom. Like I said, you can create announcements, your assignments, create questions. Another very useful feature, especially if you want to schedule things, is you can reuse old posts. And if I were to be in one class and say, oh man, I forgot to send this to another class, I can just click on this and hit reuse, and it will show up. So I don't even have to remember, all of that stuff that I put in this one. It will just be the exact same thing, and you can repost it. And that was just an announcement, although it's going to save it right up here. I'm going to get rid of it. Delete that guy. All right, and then let's go back to the beginning here. So inside of here is the waffle again, where you can change. And that is basically it for the very beginning setup of the Google Classroom. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it taught you a few things about getting started.